Alright, hey guys, welcome to the video. So today I'm going to be going over Neuro sound bases. Okay, two things just before we start. Number one, I'm going to be doing everything from scratch, so you might find me thinking or whatever. I don't have a script for this, just so that you can have an idea of the thought process. Second, I'm going to be going into quite a lot of depth about certain topics, so if you don't like that, just go ahead and search up some shitty tutorial on YouTube. But with this tutorial, I'm trying to make a definitive guide. Okay, first thing, we have a sine wave. Nice. Let's duplicate this. Also, I'm going to be using free plugins only. Okay. Let's duplicate this and consolidate. Nice. And make this short. And okay. So the basic concept of reasoning, like phase basis, phase A basis, is that the superimposition is not constant the whole time. What is a superimposition? Basically, you take two waves and you add them up together. What happens is that, so let's say I put I don't know what's going to work for this. Maybe a limit should be able to show us. Maybe. Yeah, no, this is. Yeah, no, this is not showing me the amplitude. Anyways, so basically, if you play both of these sounds together, the amplitude is going to be added up. It becomes louder, right? Okay. So, okay, now I think I can use this. Native 6.1. And what if I turn this off? See? So it's half the amplitude. Nice. So now we understand what's happening. Both of these are getting played together, and yes, they are adding up in amplitudes. And what is a sine wave essentially? A sine wave is basically a function of amplitude with respect to time, because we are working against time here, you see. And this is the amplitude. So if you've studied any engineering or trigonometry or basically ever made it into high school, you should understand this. Right. So now what we do is we're going to do a very simple experiment. What happens? Okay, so basically we can imagine that right here, it's pushing the diaphragm of our speaker. Let's say it's pushing it out. And this one is also pushing it out, right? So they're adding together, and so it's getting pushed out even more, and same with the other way around. Well, so what happens if I ask this wave to push it out and this one to push it back down inside? Well, let's check it. Theoretically, what should happen is that they should cancel out, but who knows? Maybe the decades of physics is wrong. Let's prove them wrong, boys. Let's see. So we invert this and we consolidate. Right now, you'll see that these are both opposites, and both make sounds by themselves. This one made a sound, and so did this. Well, let's play them together. Voila, we don't have a sound now. But what happened? What happened is that this one and this one got cancelled out. Nice. So now we understand what is phase cancellation. This portion gets cancelled out by this portion. Very good. So let's get the little sine wave back. Nice. So the way that you want to do this to make a Reese base is that you want this to wobble. So like you want the amplitudes to get cancelled out a bit more sometimes and a bit less sometimes, so that the summation of both amplitudes at any given time is not the same for all time. You understand? Like it should vary over time. So there's three ways to do that. Number one is you change the phase. Now what is the phase? Phase is basically the where the waveform starts from at any point t. So let's say at this point, two waves have different phases right here, because here it's at some point of amplitude and here it is at a different point. So both of them have different phases. So there's a few ways you could do that. Number one, you could change the pitch of the sound. What happens is that once you change the pitch of the sound, its time period changes, because pitch is basically frequency and frequency is the inverse of time period. What is time period? Time period is the time it takes for one complete oscillation. So let's say this is where it met zero. You want it to go up and down and then back to zero, and that the time that it took for that to happen, geez, that's what time period is. So let's try to change the pitch by 1 centimeter. Let's What that's going to do is that it's going to offset the phases. Do you see that? Like it's a bit like this portion for this wave, like this is the crest, all right? These are called troughs and these are called crests. So the crest for this wave is somewhere around here, but for this, it's somewhere around here. So we have effectively caused a phase disparity. Well, just for a more pronounced effect, let's make this even more high pitched, maybe even a bit. But you'll see that we're starting to get there if you have good headphones. Okay, did you hear that? It's wobbling. If you can't tell that it's wobbling, let's try to get this. Hey, look at that. So it's wobbling now. See, the amplitude of the wave is varying with time. Now, of course, there's other ways to do this. You can change the wavelength of a wave. Wavelength is basically the length of a wave, of a single wave. You can also change, effectively changing the wave number, or you could change the frequency, or you could start two waves. For example, you could take this wave and you could shift it, right? So that's called, what is it called? It's called a path difference. What is a path difference? Path difference is the difference in paths traveled by two waves. So since this one is starting first, there's going to be a difference in the paths traveled by both of these waves. All right, so now you understand how we get that wobble. Nice. So let's try to get that wobble, but inside of vital. And just so all of this makes sense, constantly, I am also going to use a spectrum analyzer, right? So that's a single fundamental frequency, and due to like the digital algorithms, you're also getting a few harmonics, but in a perfect world, we wouldn't have this. This is called a Fourier transform of a wave. So like you're taking a wave which is a function of time, right? A wave is basically a function of time. So the x-axis is time and the y-axis is amplitude, and you're applying a Fourier transform on it to turn it into this, a spectrum analyzer. Basically, like this is the frequency spectrum and this is the amplitude spectrum. One thing that you'll notice is that we're only changing the x-axis, which is why it's a transform. The function becomes a function of frequency and not time. There's two ways you could change like functions of time into functions of frequency or complex frequency, right? So this is the formula for a Laplace transform. So basically what you do is you take the function of t, f of t, which is like sine t in this case. You take an e to the power minus st. What is e to the power minus st? Okay, so e is basically, so this thing is called a kernel, right? And this guy, t dash, is basically dt, like a differential of time. So what a kernel does is, it's basically a function. Okay, let's solve this. I do not want cookies, I have a grandma. I'm sorry. Nice. Okay, is this not loaded up yet? How do I fucking draw? Okay, nice. Add your object. Get out of my way, buddy. All right. So what happens is that this is what it is. So you have an integral 0 to infinity, right? I'm sorry for going into maths in here, but you do really need to understand how a spectrum analyzer works. Actually, this is a tangent. I'm sorry. I will link the portion of the video where I go over the sound design again, but I'm just going to show you how this works. So you take a function of time, you put in a kernel, e to the power minus st. In this case, why isn't my stylus working? And you take dt, which is a differential of time. Now, what is e to the power minus st? Let's try to decipher this. So t is time, s is a complex frequency. So what is a complex frequency? That is basically a frequency, right, like pitch, but represented in terms of complex numbers. So it's basically like a plus ib. What is a? A is a real part of this value, and b is also a real part, but since it's multiplied with I, what is I? I is root over -1. and root over -1, as decided by the fucking scientists, is imaginary. So basically, the whole thing becomes a complex conjugate, and it's a complex frequency. I am not very certain how to decipher this, sadly, but as far as I remember, A is the amplitude. Yes, it is, yeah. A is the amplitude, I is the imaginary term, and B is the frequency at any point. I think so. Anyways, so this is S. This is what S is. So you put in these values. Also, e to the power minus st. So you could ask, why specifically an exponential function? Another thing that you need to notice is that this function is actually oscillating because it's an I, and I oscillates. And e to the power minus st, as you can guess, is the kernel. I just told you that. You don't have to guess. Anyways, you can use any other function that has st. So technically, instead of using e to the power st, we could potentially just use, let's see, sine of st, and it would still work, but e to the power minus st is very easy to solve analytically. So what happens is that you solve this, right? So you go from an f of t, like a function of time, to a function of s, right? Now, I could solve this integral right in front of you, but being an engineering student, I remember what it was. So like, let's say your f of t was a sine time. You could, if you apply a Laplace transform over this, you will get a function of complex frequency, which is going to be s squared plus a squared over, and on the top we have a. So basically, let's say we had like sine at t equal to, let's say at t equal to, what is this? Let's say at 2 units of time, sine of 2. What would that be? Basically, it would be this guy, the sine of 2t, that is. Sorry, like 2 time. Okay, so basically 2 is like the a. S, we don't know because, of course, it's a function of s, so it's supposed to be in the result. So that's why we don't have a value for s. We can put the values for s and find actual values for this guy. So we take a, so a is just 2 divided by s squared plus 4. That's it. That's exactly it. So on a frequency spectrum, you're going to take values for s, which is like the frequency, and you're going to take the values of amplitude, right? And then you just solve, and boom, you're done. That's as simple as this gets. You now understand how a frequency analyzer works, but this is actually all wrong because you don't use Laplace transform this. Laplace transform for this, you use Fourier transform. So what is Fourier transform? It is another mathematical model, blah, blah, blah. It's also got a formula for that. Basically, it also turns, okay, there it is. So it also turns your thing, like f of t, it also has a kernel. So in this case, the kernel is j omega t. What is omega? Omega is the angular frequency of the wave. So basically how fast it rotates. Like in this case of a sine wave, what? When you do that, freeze track, flatten track. All right, nice. So basically, it's how the speed of this guy going around. So there's also something called a phasor diagram. So what is a phasor diagram? It's basically the representation of a sine wave. This is how it works. It's basically a 360 degree. No, this is called a phase. So 90 degree, this is 180 degree, this is, anyways. So you can basically plot this as a circle. It's called the phasor diagram. It spins in an anti-clockwise direction, and it's very easy to understand for engineers. It is. So basically, the speed at which it rotates is called the angular frequency. Now, of course, what that means for us is that if you increase the pitch, it's going to spin faster, and if it spins faster, it has more angular frequency. And since it has more angular frequency, yeah, anyways, you get the point. So that's how it works. That's what omega is. And of course, we're using a kernel to solve that. And it's integral from negative infinity to positive infinity because the Fourier transform, unlike a Laplace transform, goes both ways of the x-axis. This one only goes in the positive x-axis, which is why it's very lossy. you don't use Laplace transforms for like music production or like spectrum analyzers. You just use them for encoding of various audio waves. I do want to go back to the topic though. Enough with the tangent that I went on. So this is how a spectrum analyzer works, right? Damn, I just wasted so much of the time. I'm so sorry. All right. So here comes the fun part. Let's design the sound. We have two sine waves now. Now, one thing about Neuro bases is that they don't usually have very harmonically rich low ends. They have wobbly low ends. So to design a perfect wobble, we want to pitch them around, right? So like both of them should be separated. Okay, so how do we do that? First thing is that if I make them wobble, you won't be able to hear it, sadly, because unless you're on a very good headphone like I am. So I'm just going to distort both of them. Okay, that's another thing. See how the wave is varying every time? That's because of the phase randomization. Every time both of these waves are getting triggered from different points, which is why it sounds like that. Let's just take the phase randomizations down and we should have the same wave being created. Always. Nice. So now let's try to make them wobble. Very easy stuff. See what that did? Now, next thing is that I want this thing to like, when I'm very low in pitch, so I want this to start from a very less wobbly sound. And when I go up, I want this to get like very fast, like the wobble. So let's do the most simple drum and bass thing. You see how this wobbles faster? This is because it's a higher pitched sound, as you can guess. Also, let's make it glide. I need some mono legato on this. This sounds very bad. So let's make this. So. This is very fast. I need to. Okay, now let's make this difference and let's automate it with the note that we're doing. Basically, like if we hold a higher note, the difference is going to be more. And if we hold a lower note, it's going to be not that much. So we do this and we do this. Now we want both of these to go in opposite directions so that this one gets pitched down and this one gets pitched up so that the difference is more and it wobbles faster. Okay. So let's do this. Now that is too fast, so this. Perfect. Now, next thing that we're going to do is that. Okay, now this is a lot of distortion and you don't need that. Perfect. Now, another thing in a Neuro bass is that you have a very crispy high end. So for a crispy high end, you want like a saw wave because it's got a lot of harmonics, as you can see. And of course, you can see right there. It's got a lot of high end. But this guy does not. Okay. And the bit that it has is just because of the distortion. Otherwise, it wouldn't even have that. You can see it moving around. Nice. This is actually a very responsive spectrum analyzer. I like what Ableton did there. Oh, now you're getting it. So what you want to do is that But this sound is very full, right? But this is, look, I can do a very simple design. Okay, I'm going to explain everything with Okay, so I number one thing that I'm going to do is that this guy needs to be like modulated, right? I don't want, and I don't want the low end from this because it's making the Reese base stable, and I don't want that. So I'm going to take the oscillator 3 through filter 2. So I wanted to go wah, 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 wah. So I am going to modulate this. The thing is that I don't want to go this low because we're getting some sub frequencies, but if I go above, it's enhancing a harmonic that I don't quite like. But you know what, I'll just go with it. And also for a crispy high end, you want like some white noise. And another thing that I've noticed is that when you go high, then white noise sort of hurts your ears. So I am going to modulate that with the node as well. Perfect. And okay, I want this to be a bit more. Now, yeah, okay. Anyways, so we got the basic sound. Nice. Okay. So let's do some post processing on this. Not really post processing. We're still in the synth. Okay. So what is a phaser? A phaser is basically like a equalizer, like a filter, but it has notches. Has a very formant sound. Like it's got some formant sounds. So again, I want this to be automated as well. Nice, and let's get the distortion. Nice, we have a nice sound. Now, here's some personal things, like you can apply chorus, and with chorus, you're going to get like some unison stuff. So I want to design the chorus, and also here's the personal thing. You can put the chorus before or after. So the distortion is going to act on the chorus. Also, you can do that with the phasing. But I don't like to do that because these notches sometimes take away fundamental frequencies, and that is not good for the re space. Like it won't have a very good like load end. But you can do that with the chorus. Definitely. Okay, let's design the chorus. Nice. Another thing is that I've seen a lot of dubstep producers or like drum and bass producers do this for like really gnarly sounds, which is they will do this like take an envelope and modulate the um global. I am so sorry. Okay, another thing that I want to do is that I'm going to route this into filter one. Okay. Yeah, I want this to go down. So nice. So also get a compressor so that like no, I'll go over this later. And of course, a flanger. Flanger basically gives you a very And now let's mess with some band filters. No, let's not do that. All right, we have a good sound now. Let's start off with distorting it even further. OTT because OTT. I have seen some people do this, but not really a fan of this. I'll be real. So let's just get rid of that. And finally, I want to show you how you make it go womp, 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 womp. So for that, you want to get like a filter. No, actually, let's just do it in Ableton auto filter because auto filter is crazy good with this. So you can use this in like a fill, you know? And this is what the OTT Trinity is. You can also use like a reverb for this, and that has a very cool effect, which is you take and that is pretty much it, guys. That is how you make a Neuro bass. So again, so this is what we end up with. Okay. And also, here's a pro tip. You can take this macro and put it there, and you can also take this macro and put it there. And then in the macro settings, you can change this guy. So it's like this. And also, why not? Because like I told you that I would show you. So take the LFO. Trigger is fine, but you don't do it. And you can turn this What I like to do sometimes is that I'll take this, and then I'll take this. And of course, we can mess around with the phaser now. Now, what I also suggest you do is that you take this, you do this, 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 this. And you take this, you take away all these effects. Perhaps. You take this away, take this away, this, so that you get the sub bass that is going on. So you have a nice and mono sub bass. Now there's this very annoying sound that of course, yeah, let's design it like a very simple drop with this guy. Let's use this as a drum. Let's use 172 BPM because freak noisy, right? No, damn, I'm bad at drum design. Right. So this, I'll put this on. And we can just do this. Yeah, nice. So we're just going to design a very simple drum beat. And this should go off on a 16th note, or maybe an 8th. Oh, nice. Nice. Always use repitch. Use OTT. Use a gate. Jeez. Use a gate to use a reverb. This. And maybe let's also do like an auto pen. Um, it's like d. So that's a 16th note. Oh. And let's also take care of the nice. This should go pretty well. Maybe even like some extra. Okay, let's see. I like some patterns. I want this to be very compressed. And also very wide. What? Okay. And other than the kick drum, I want everything to have a bit of room. I know this is not very noticeable, but trust me, it works. And finally, just so that we have like a down lifter. Do they have any down lifter? Yeah, nice, perfect. Just going to use this. Now, I think this might actually interfere with the uh, Neuro base. And finally, I'm going to take this guy. And I'm going to create like a sidechain figure for this. Like this. But let's create a very simple sidechain channel for everything to go into. For that, I'm going to use shaper box. Actually, shaper box, bop. Something very snappy. Like this, bop. No, the thing is, I want this to end like this. Yes. So that, let's see. Let's just test it out on this guy. Where is sidechain again? Oh, what? Okay. This I'm going to send it to. I'm also going to send this through this guy. Hey, here we go, boys. Of course, I want to give the snares some space as well now. So I am going to do that. No, 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 no. This side chain is too hard now. I don't like this. And I'm going to okay, yeah, this is nice. Oh, damn. I'm going to take this value, copy it, and I'm going to go back to this guy. And I'm going to do this, this. You know what? Let's just. I'm sorry, but I'm going to keep producing. I'll just upload the damn thing to YouTube, and yeah, I don't care. You understand now how to make those things. Now I'm going to use serum and whatever. I am now invested in this song. I'm so sorry. Um, um, no. What? Is this 5 audio now? Okay, I'm just going to name it sidechain now. Sidechain. No, actually, no, let's just not do that. So, process this maybe. I need a delay. What's this guy? Let's just keep it a simple. No, I want you to be lower. I'm planning for a little snare fill there. Let's see. Hmm. Huh? What the? That's new, I guess. I also want this to go. What? What? No way, right? No way this happened everywhere. No, it doesn't. Didn't. Good. How annoying. What? Yeah, I think I'll have to do this to the other one as well. Otherwise, it's like too fast and I don't like the way it sounds there. No worries though, which is why I created the macros. See? So. I think something here would go crazy hard. I think some vocal sample maybe. What key were we in again? Yeah. Why are you walking? Thing is, I think some reverb would be nice in this guy, but only comes around in here. No. Okay. I think what can be done is that I take this guy, this, do this thing here, but then I do this thing here, and then I do this. Maybe even some cool stuff on the sky, or so maybe some delay. Who knows? Who knows? Mm, ooh, very interesting. This guy is not clean. Oh, hmm. I think I downloaded some funk vocals yesterday. Yeah, I did. I am going to use them.
Mac, know your niggas plan of killers and we have hell, can't you tell? Might know your
Hey.
niggas plan of killers and we have hell, can't you tell? Might as Mac, know your niggas plan of tell. Shoot no knots, Cooper Street bound, this shit don't stop. Mac, know your crime click, leave them bitches on that block. My shoot no knots, Cooper Street bound, this shit don't stop. Mac, know your crime click, leave Mac, know your niggas plan of killers and we have hell, can't you tell? Might as well. Mac, know your niggas plan of killers and we have hell, can't Know your niggas plan of killers and we have hell. Can't you tell? Might as well Fahrenheit. This dope I smell. Swinging rocks, shooting no knocks. Cooper Street bound. This shit don't stop. Mac, know your crime. Click.
Okay, no, I lost the warp. Damn. Oh, sad. Yeah. How do I? Damn. Ow.
Know your niggas plan of killers and we have hell. Can't you tell? Might as well Fahrenheit. This dope I smell. Swinging rocks, shooting no knocks. Cooper Street bound. This shit don't stop. Bitches when they bad, make this picture. Swinging rocks, shooting no knocks. Cooper Street bound. This shit don't stop. Swinging rocks, shooting no knocks. Cooper Street bound. This shit don't stop. Know your crime. Click. Leave them bitches on that block. My niggas in this bitch.
Okay, why can I not?
Know your niggas plan of killers and we have hell. Can't you tell?
Okay.
Know your niggas plan of killers and we have hell. Can't you tell? Might as well Fahrenheit. This dope I smell. Know your niggas plan of killers and we have hell. Can't you tell? Might as well Fahrenheit. This dope I smell. Know your niggas plan of killers and we have hell. Can't you tell? Might as well Fahrenheit. This dope I smell. Know your niggas plan of killers and we have hell. Can't you tell? Might as well. Know your niggas plan of killers and we have hell. Can't you know niggas plan of killers? Know your niggas plan of killers. Know your niggas plan of killers. Know your niggas plan of killers. Know your niggas plan of killers and we have hell. Know your niggas plan of killers and we have hell. Know your niggas plan of killers and we have. Know your niggas plan of killers and we have hell. Know your niggas plan of killers and we have hell. Know your niggas plan of killers. Know your niggas plan of killers and we have hell. Tell like that. Know your niggas plan of killers and we have hell. Know your niggas plan of killers and we have hell. Tell like that. Know your niggas plan of killers and we have hell. Can't you tell? Might as well Fahrenheit. This dope I smell. Know your niggas plan of killers and we have hell. Can't you tell? Might as well. Know your niggas plan of killers and we have hell. Can't you tell? Might as well. Know your niggas plan of killers and we have hell. Can't you tell? Might as well. Know your niggas plan of killers and we have. Know your niggas plan of.
Here's another thing. You can also vocode your vocals with a raise bass, and sometimes it's cool. But I cannot guarantee that because it's not always the best thing to do. If you ask me, that is. What song were we using again? Know your niggas plan of killers and we have hell. Can't you tell? Know your niggas plan of killers and we have hell. Can't you tell? Know your niggas plan of killers and we have hell. Can't you tell? Know your niggas plan of killers. And let's just pitch it up. Yeah, I'm done for the day. Well, if you want, the presets, they might be in the description if I don't die before that. And yeah, this is what we ended up with. Yeah, like really gnarly vocals and stuff. Goodbye.